Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, Arsenal correspondent at Goal. How are you this fine Monday morning? Always nice to wake up after a North London derby victory, and a very well-deserved victory it was. That man Martin Odegaard equalising Eric Lamella's goal for Spurs, and then Alexander Lacazette scoring the winner from the penalty spot to give Arsenal their first North London derby win since that 4-2 under Unai Emery in his first season in December 2018. So a lovely feeling this morning. I'm sure you've all woken up happy and enjoy having a go at all your Spurs mates, which I'm sure plenty of you have done this morning, even though you're not in the office like normal and you're probably doing it from home. Enjoy it, because North London at the moment is very much red, and it's a lovely feeling. So today's video, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about that game, some of the fallout. Obviously, we've got to discuss Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and what's gone on there, a few other bits and pieces to talk about. I will go over my player ratings very quickly at the end of the game. I did do the video yesterday, but if you haven't seen it, I'll just run through them very quickly at the end of this video, just to let you know how I thought that all went. So in terms of the game itself, I thought Arsenal were great. I thought this was another sign of the clear progress Arsenal are making now under Mikel Arteta since Christmas. The difference in Arsenal is just huge. Yes, there's been bumps along the road since then. Obviously, that's going to happen because Arsenal is still very much an emerging team, and a team trying to understand a new way of thinking, a new way of playing under Mikel Arteta. And it's the project. Sorry, I hate calling it project, but it kind of is one. It's far from complete. So there are going to be bumps on the road. We've seen that in some of the performances recently. Certainly, I think the one at Aston Villa was a little bit disappointing after that early mistake, but on the whole, since Christmas, we've seen a marked improvement in Arsenal and where they go. And I thought yesterday was another example. The fact they could leave out, Aubameyangs, and still play that way. I mean, the first half, they were fantastic. It was by far, and they were so far and away better than Spurs. And for it to only be 1-1 was ridiculous, really. It kind of summed up where Arsenal have been in recent weeks, not taking their chances, hitting the woodwork a couple of times, going behind to an absolute wonder goal. But I think they finished that half having had 10 shots. Spurs had 1. Spurs were rubbish, let's put it that way. Spurs weren't great, but I don't think Arsenal let them be anywhere near great, because the way they pressed, the way they hunted in packs, it was just a really, really excellent performance. And they were great for 70 minutes, 75 minutes. Yes, the last 15 minutes were pretty torturous. Arsenal got that horribly wrong. I think they were just absolutely dead on their feet after the effort they put in for the other 75 minutes, but they lost their heads. They didn't... They tried to sit back when they should have really dominated that last 15 minutes with the extra man and just seen the game out comfortably. They went a little bit loopy, and Mikel Arteta admitted it after the game. He said we didn't close out the game. We managed those 10 minutes really, really badly. We put ourselves in trouble and we gave them hope. After the red card, you should have seen 200 passes in the opponent's half. Give the ball and attack at the right moment. It's a big lesson. It's a great lesson to get when you're winning, and that is the biggest lesson. So he knows it wasn't good enough at the end there, and Arsenal almost gave Tottenham what would have been a very, very undeserved point. And it's a lesson to be learned there in terms of game management and seeing the game out, even if you are tired. And I think tiredness certainly came into it in those last 10, 15 minutes, especially for someone like Thomas Partey, who looked exhausted. Obviously, he finished the game, which is a good thing. There was no injury and he played for full 90 minutes. That would do him the world of good in the long term in terms of his long-term fitness, but he was absolutely shattered in that last 20. I think you could really see that, because his performance up to then was really good, but it dipped sharply, started giving away silly free kicks and things like that. Not just him, they all did. And they just lost their heads a little bit in panic. But other than that, I just thought it was a great performance. It really, really was. As I said earlier, they moved the ball so well, they pressed so well, caused Spurs all sorts of problems. The left-hand side of Tierney and Smith Rowe was just absolutely electric. I mean, Matt Doherty, I don't know what he must have been thinking when he went to bed last night. Must have been shut his eyes and just have nightmares of those two bombing at him down that left-hand side. And they just dominated the game. And look, Spurs are a very good team, and they came into the game on the back of a really good run of form, full of confidence. Yes, they lost Son early, but even when Son was on the pitch, it hadn't got a sniff really, because Arsenal was so completely and utterly dominant. And they played on the front foot. The fact they did it all, having been in Greece on Thursday, coming back late while Spurs were at home as well, made it even more impressive. And it was just, I just thought it was another real example of where Arsenal are going now under Arteta, and the clear progress that is being made under him. He was clearly very happy. He said, look, we started the game really strongly. We were really dominant, played in the opposition's half, regaining the ball quickly, creating chances. Then Lamela scores an incredible goal, really, really incredible, unique, talented piece. After that, we had to react. Obviously, mentally, it's not easy. When you play two days ago, it's not easy, but I loved the way the team reacted with the courage. They continued to play, the belief that I was sensing from the touchline. And that deserves a lot of credit as well, because when Lamela scores a goal like that, having been so completely dominant in a game, then to see the team score with their first shot in the entire match after well over half an hour, and with it to be a goal like that, something that he could have tried 99 times out of 100 and not scored. You could have easily let your head drops there and think, oh, here we go again, it's not going to be our day. But they reacted so well, was straight back on the front foot, had that chance when Cedric Suarez hit the post, carried on going, and then they got the goal through that man behind me there, which they absolutely thoroughly deserved just before half-time, and that was crucial. To go in at half-time 1-0 down would have been an absolute sickener given the way Arsenal played. But to go in level at 1-1 and to get some reward for that performance, I think mentally it was a massive, massive thing. And I can understand why Mikel Arteta was so pleased with not just the performance in that first half hour when they were so dominant, but the way they reacted to conceding that goal and going on to turn things round. So really, really good day for Arsenal, really enjoyable day. Not been too many of them this season because, let's face it, it's been a pretty miserable season and performances on the whole have been bad, results have been poor, but I've said it a few times in this video, and I know a load of people have a go at me, so you're an Arteta propaganda machine, which I absolutely not. When Arsenal are rubbish, I say they're rubbish. When Arteta gets it wrong, I say he gets it wrong. But I'm just saying, at the moment, I think it's undeniable that since Christmas, you can see the trajectory that Arsenal are heading, and it's not that way, it's that way. The points suggest it, the stats suggest it, the numbers suggest it. Whereas before they were creating no chances, they were playing dreadful football, they were losing games. Now they're creating loads of chances, they're out shooting their opponents pretty much every game. The numbers are just going that way, and the points now are beginning to go that way as well. Yes, it's not acceptable where they are in the league this season. It's absolutely not. The fact is, even though they won yesterday, they're still 10th in the Premier League, and for Arsenal, that is simply not good enough. And that is not acceptable. But I think you've just got to look towards next season for me, and I just think that Arsenal are heading in the right direction. The next season could be a positive one if they continue to play the way they're playing at the moment. So clear signs of progress for me under Mikel Arteta. But they certainly not helped really yesterday by their captain and by what's gone on with that. That's certainly a bit of a cloud that's hung over it yesterday. So you should be totally celebrating what was a really good derby win. But instead, a lot of the headlines, or most of the headlines, have been taken by what's gone on with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I will run through now what Mikel's had to say about the situation, what's going on in terms of Arsenal, and what maybe the punishment looks like it will be for Auba, who he did post on social media after the game yesterday. I think it's like North London is red and that's it. He didn't say anything about, there's no apology or anything like that for what's gone on. But he has certainly congratulated the team for his performance. But it's not really the ideal situation for Arsenal and Mikel Arteta in what is a massive, massive fortnight for them. So what we know about Auba so far is he was being punished and disciplined for a breach of matchday protocol. Although Arsenal haven't admitted it publicly, it is believed that he was late for the game. He was seen pictured in traffic coming through North London well after midday yesterday. Not believed to have been the first time that Aubameyang's been late for a sort of team meet-up at some point this season. Also, he's had that incident where he's got the tattoo, which Arsenal dealt with internally as well. So it's the sort of things are topping up at the moment when it comes to Aubameyang and Arsenal. And I think that's the main issue when it comes to Aubameyang, and why Mikel was probably taken the decision to publicly lay the law down to him on this occasion. Is it's not the first occasion, and he is the club captain. Yes, he's a big name. Yes, he's a star striker, but he is club captain. And as club captain, you've got to sort of follow the rules, basically. And I feel like this is why Mikel has decided to publicly dress him down over this, because this could have been kept under wraps pretty easily, you'd think, because I don't think any of us would have been so surprised yesterday had Aubameyang been on the substitutes bench, given they played on Thursday night, given he got the second leg against Olympiacos this Thursday. I think when the team news was initially brought out and it was seen that Lacazette was starting and Aubameyang was on the bench, no one was overly surprised. There wasn't a big meltdown or anything like that. But then Arteta publicly offered up the information. He was the one in his Sky interview before the game who said he's been left out for disciplinary reasons. And had he not said that, he could have this could have been kept under wraps, you would think. Maybe it would have come out a couple of days afterwards, something like that. But this time, the fact it came out before the game and it became this big story, Arteta clearly wanted it to be. Because, like I said, he could have kept it under wraps. So I think he's made a calculated decision here to lay down the law to Aubameyang and say, look, you can't keep doing this. You are my captain, you are my star player, but you have to follow the same rules that everyone else does. And if you continue to miss it, even if you're 10 minutes late, 15 minutes late, whatever it was, it's not acceptable. So I feel like, as well as it was a big decision from Mikel, it certainly felt like a calculated one for me as well, one that he wanted to get out in the open. Talking about it after the game, he said, look, we've dealt with the situation, it's been done, we move on, we know how important Auba is to us and it will continue to be really important, that's it, no more comments. But then he was pressed on it a little bit more. He was asked, why this isn't the first time you've had a go or you've disciplined someone for off-pitch stuff since you've arrived at Arsenal. We've had it with Guendouzi, we had it with Ainsley Maitland-Niles before. There's been a few different occasions, and he said, why are behavioural standards so high for you? And he said, because for me it's the foundations and the platform that we can build something medium and long term on that is sustainable. It can bring us joy and happiness. Without it, I don't believe that would happen. That's why I keep talking about it and acting on it. He's obviously talked about his non-negotiables, that sort of thing before. He says, we have a way of living together that we have to respect each other, and that's it. Aubameyang, is an incredible guy. He's probably one of the most important players in the team. He's our captain. These things happen when we move forward. Let's enjoy the victory. When asked, was it definitely for lateness, he said, I will never tell you anything that happens in the dressing room. So I think what's going to happen now, Aubameyang will get fined, something like that. It will all be done in-house. He did go off yesterday. It was quite interesting. Normally the substitutes all warmed down on the pitch after the game. And they did yesterday, apart from Aubameyang, and you could hear his car, because you can tell Aubameyang's car a mile off, and even in the stadium, and it was only about 20 minutes after full time, you could hear him leaving, absolutely speeding out, and he didn't do it slyly or quietly. He sped away at full speed so the whole of North London can hear him, almost like he was trying to make a point. So whether this is something that is yet smoothed over remains to be seen. I think it's something that probably in the next couple of days that Aubameyang and Arteta will sit down away from the emotion of a match day and try and sort of put this one to bed. Arteta will certainly say Aubameyang what he expects from him as captain, and Aubameyang will probably, no doubt, say his piece. But he's going to have to accept the punishment, which I imagine will come as some shape of a fine from Arsenal. And then hopefully Arteta will look to draw a line under it. It'll be interesting to see if he's back in the starting lineup on Thursday night against Olympiacos. Obviously, Arsenal going into that with a nice cushion after that 3-1 win in Athens. You would expect Aubameyang to start because it is a huge, huge game for Arsenal and they don't want to take any risks. Everyone knows what happens last time Olympiacos came to Arsenal. But, whether this is smoothed over by them, we'll have to wait and see. But it is a little bit of a cloud on what has been a very bright and sort of sunny Monday morning for Arsenal. You do have this Aubameyang thing sort of clouding over it now, but hopefully it's just going to be a little bump in the road and Arsenal and him can move on, because let's face it, Arsenal need Aubameyang at their very, very best. But it was good for Arsenal as well that they won it without their skipper yesterday, which said a lot about the squad and about the team, that they can do it without Aubameyang. Couple of things on players before I go. I want to talk a little bit about Gabriel, who I thought was great yesterday, and it was really good to see him back to the sort of levels he was showing when he first arrived at Arsenal. I think he's had a shaky period, Gabriel, that's gone on for a while now. He's obviously had an injury, then he got COVID, and he's been in and out of the team, but I thought he was fantastic yesterday. He had that really great block after Kane hit the post in the closing stages to deny what looked like an equaliser, because I don't think Leno was going to get there. I think it was from Sanchez, his shot on the rebound from when Kane hit the post, and it was just a really solid, excellent performance from Gabriel, and like I said, it was signs of those performances he showed when he first arrived at Arsenal, and that's great for them because he's such an important player. He scored his goal on Thursday night in Olympiacos. I thought he played well there as well, and then he followed it up with a really dominant North London derby performance, and that's great for Arsenal because they've got really good options at centre back now, because I think Luiz is playing very well. I've said how much I like Pablo Mari before, and Rob Holding, I think, has been playing really well as well. So suddenly you've got four really solid options at centre back there that you can rotate in. Really good news that Gabriel's back. I thought he was excellent last night as was Emile Smith Rowe, who just continues to impress. He's back in the side yesterday on the left-hand side, and he was brilliant. Him and Tierney was so good. They combined so well. So unlucky when he hit the bar, Smith Rowe. What a goal that would have been. Just caused Tottenham all sorts of problems with the way he got on the ball. He knocked it past his man. He drove at them. Just quality. Mikel saying after the game, I think he had a magnificent performance. I think he shows not only quality, but his personality, his intelligence on the pitch, his energy. He gives us something different. Today in a derby, you need some individual performances, and for sure, he had one. Really good for Smith Rowe. Arsenal boy as well, coming in and playing like that in a North London derby. He would have absolutely loved it. And Arsenal are very, very lucky to have him. Okay, before we go, just a little bit on Bukayo Saka's injury. That is a hamstring problem. He'll be having a scan over the next couple of days to determine the extent of it. Obviously, he came off at half-time. He did come on the pitch, which was good at the at full time. Little bit of a limp. We're celebrating with Smith Rowe and the like. So it could well be that we'll probably have to be without Saka for a couple of weeks now. He's obviously played loads and loads of football this season. Opportunity for Pepe. Thought he did well when he came on yesterday. The pass for Lacazette, which got the penalty, was absolutely brilliant from Pepe. And he's got an opportunity to impress now if Saka is going to be out for what you'd think could be a couple of weeks, because you don't want to take any risks with a hamstring issue. And then finally, my player ratings before we go. I'll run through these. Like I said, I did do the main video yesterday, but if you haven't seen it, I'll just run through these quickly if you're interested. Leno got a 6 for me. Didn't have much to do. Tottenham only had 2 shots on target, I think, and obviously couldn't do anything with a goal. He gets a 6. Gabriel, as I've said, I thought was excellent. He's going to get an 8 for me. Luiz gets a 7. Next to him, another good performance from David Luiz. Kieran Tierney, fantastic. He gets an 8. Thought he was great. Him and Smith Rowe, as I said, down that left-hand side. Cedric Suarez got the nod over Hector Bellerin, justified that decision. Really unlucky to hit the post. Another excellent performance from Suarez, who continues to impress. He gets a 7. In midfield, both Partey and Xhaka get a 7. I thought they dominated the game for 60 minutes, then started to tire, and then the last 15 minutes they looked like they were dead on their feet. And struggled a little bit, but before that I thought they were very, very good, so they both get a 7. Saka obviously went off at half-time. He got a 6 for me. Odegaard I thought was excellent again, got his goal. He gets a 7. Smith Rowe, 8. He's my man of the match. I thought Smith Rowe was fantastic. And Alexander Lacazette gets a 7 for me. Took his penalty really well. Led the line pretty well. He got a little bit of a criticism I saw on social media yesterday during the game, which I thought was a little bit unlucky, because I thought he had a decent enough game, Lacazette, although he did drop deep a little bit too much at times, which left Arsenal without a focal point up front. But great penalty from Lacazette. He gets 7, and Pepe's the only sub I'm going to give a rating to, because he played for a full 45 minutes and played a really big part in Arsenal winning the penalty with that pass, so he gets a 7 as well. Thanks for watching, everyone. Do enjoy your Monday wherever you're watching this around the world. Get on your phones, message those Spurs fans, because we've had to endure a couple of seasons of disappointing results against that lot. But this time, Arsenal have won the North London derby. North London is very much red, so enjoy the start of your week. I'll speak to you very, very soon.